Hello my fellow brothers, shout out to my 41 subscribers, Paint and Conquer is back. It's been a while since my last video and a lot has changed. My friend, who used to help me with the filming and editing, can't do that anymore. With new edition of Kill Team I pretty much stopped playing it and well, I got fired from software engineering job. So I figured out I'd take an indefinite vacation and focus on more enjoyable things. Like responsible grown-up man, I decided to start taking commissions for miniature painting. Today I'll tell you about how I tackled my first few orders. First, priming. I used an airbrush with a 0.5mm nozzle for a white spray cone, hooked up to an extra big paint tank, and premixed my primer, thinner and flow improver. On my table we've got a Trench Crusade Pilgrim Prophet, 3 old land speeders, 2 large miniatures, the Emperor of Mankind and Wukong from Black Myth Wukong, and 20 or 22 tempestus equivalents. As a skirmish player I don't have much experience painting vehicles, especially old blocky ones. And I've only painted models as big as an Emperor and Wukong only once before in my life. Well, but hey, I'll manage it. This is not a tutorial, just me sharing how my week went. Alright, looks like priming is done. Land speeders. The client wanted them painted in a simple Space Wolf scheme with Fang blue as a main color. Fast and cheap. My approach: slap on paint quickly with an airbrush and sponges, carefully blackline the panel gaps, add a few highlights, throw in some bright details to make the model pop, and fix any obvious mistakes. Overall, I think the plan worked fine. What I didn't like was that I got too many ugly blotches while sponging grey. I had to fix them with semi-transparent glazes, which ended up adding some depth to the model, so maybe that's a win. For bright accents, I went with the red glowing lamps and colorful missile pod rims. It took me about 2 days to finish the models. Some YouTubers paint 2000 points army in that time. My fastest 2000 point army took me about 10 days. It was Imperial Knights and you don't want to know what they look like. Here's the final result. What did I learn? Don't expect fast and great results when you're trying something for the first time. Next up, Wukong. And he is in some kind of demonic armor. I know nothing about the game or about the character, but my client sent me these references, so I just went for it. A common issue with 3D printed minis is quality. Not only the quality of printing itself, but the quality of the sculpt. This one? No complaints. Went together fine. Okay, it needed some fixing, but nothing major. The paneling was quite balanced and the wash settled nicely. Unexpected problem. The client wanted a different head, so I had to print and paint a second one. His robes were also tricky. I could have painted smooth gradients by hand, but that would have gone way beyond the agreed budget. And on the large smooth surfaces, any imperfections stand out like crazy. So I masked everything with masking putty and sprayed the robes, alternating between reddish grey and bluish grey colors. After the base layers, I added some very rough highlights and then softened them with a lighter shade by airbrush, and I actually like how it turned out. As for the Emperor, well, I accidentally deleted most of the footages, so just enjoy me drilling his feet and base. And honestly, I didn't like painting this model at all, so let's move on. Well, not everything went smoothly. The Prophet's hammer broke off, so I decided to reprint it. This'll be a separate video, yay! Now the equivalents. The client wanted them painted like this reference. Since we agreed on the cheapest option, I kept it as simple as I could. Test model first. Dry brush light blue-gray to prep for the contrast. Paint metals for texture variation. Then coat everything in a black lotus. There is no need to overcomplicate things like changing boots or straps color, just keep it unified. Add gold, add silver, and wash everything with slightly diluted Nuln oil. By the way, I diluted my washes with my primer mix, 50-50 thinner and flow improver. It makes them flow much better, settling in the recesses without staining on the surfaces, which I actually wanted. Lenses and anything that glows. The recipe is quite simple. Base red, white highlights, which are not actually highlights but just some irregularities, and then I cover it with a fluorescent red. For texture paste, I just slapped it on the base, since the client's whole army already has it like this, so we keep it unified. Now repeat it 19 more times and it's done. The client asked for 10 of them to have a white shoulder pads, so I marked them in advance with a stripe on the base. Pro tip: don't use pure white for this. I went with Vallejo light sea gray. It looks white enough, but blends the whole model way better. Pure white would have been a disaster. Here's the final result. Thanks for watching, I really appreciate it. Despite the long break, I'm going to be much more active on YouTube now. Originally I planned to focus on battle reports, but organizing them turned out harder than I expected. But my friend and I have scheduled a Trench Crusade battle report, so hopefully that will come out soon. I also plan to film painting my armies for Trench Crusade, for a Song of Ice and Fire miniature war game, maybe some kill teams, maybe even my 40k armies, Orc or Blood Angels. We'll see. Goodbye, guys.